So most people just read books, but there is a West Seneca woman who has discovered a new use for them. And as Mike Randall found out, she is about to have her national debut.
You have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, just like you have to cut up some classics to become a book artist.
There's always a little bit of apprehension about cutting into the book, but then I just tell myself and remind myself why I'm doing it.
Heather Cook made the plunge a few years ago when she was inspired by another artist.
I was like, wow, I love books and I love art and I want to try this.
Early on, she gave a few as gifts, but then her house started to fill up with her whimsical works of art.
And my husband actually was the one that said, what are we going to do with all these? So you can only gift them so many times. Why don't you try to sell them? And I was like, really?
Turns out it was a pretty good idea. Heather's been selling her work on Etsy for about 3 years. She calls her company Literature.
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 So instead of literature, you just swap it a little bit.
It can take dozens of hours and painstaking attention to detail to complete a piece. This is one of Heather's favorites, called City of Lanterns.
I traveled to Vietnam and I fell in love with this little town called Hoi An. I just need to recreate that for myself, so this piece was made for myself and I had a lot of fun doing it.
Her original pieces sell from $20 to over $1,000. And if you have a favorite book, you're in luck. Heather says she takes requests. People took notice of her work, and then one day she got a message from a prop manager at Netflix that said,
I'm from Netflix and I'd like to use some of your pieces. It's like, this has got to be a scam.
It wasn't a scam, and now Heather's artistry takes center stage on Goodnik, a new Netflix comedy debuting April 15th. One of the pieces she whipped up for Netflix was a tree that had about 4,000 leaves.
By the end, my fingers were hurting. I was using tweezers, but once it's done, all that pain and sacrifice is worth it.
Heather says that besides making these delightful little treasures, she's recycling.
Books are really hard to recycle and they're everywhere, so why not give them a new life?
Why not? For the Now Buffalo, I'm Mike Randall.
That's really cool, Mike. Thanks.